Tyler, on the touchdown to Rashid, did you change something there at the end?
Yeah. So, really good red zone play. We had a running back wheel, motioning the running back out, kind of a shallow back line. You're trying to high-low them if they're in shell quarters, or they can bring zero, and you'll have a kind of a check there to change it. So we had that kind of built in. So I saw zero, changed the play, kept them in protection, and just drifted away from the hot to find them. So it was really good communication by the O-line and everybody kind of getting it. But yeah, it was a good, just kind of good rep to go through in the installs and kind of what we're trying to get done and look for. But it was a good catch by him. I got to put a little bit more on him.
What changes mentally, operation-wise, on a day like today where it's shorter field?
Yeah. I mean, everything's got to quicken up. Your mindset is touchdown. It's either now or later. Scott Tolzien says it all the time. It's either now off of rhythm, or you're scrambling and you're finding it later, or it's a throwaway. I had quite a few throwaways. The one to AK, we're hot. You're getting out of your hands, one over the back of the end zone. So you're trying to limit those negative plays or make the big one. So it's great I think that they prioritize those situations early on, because I think that's kind of the biggest difference in wins and losses.
You had a couple to Shaheed today. Is that an adjustment? It's ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
Is that an adjustment for you dealing with him, and how would you describe throwing to him?
I think every guy runs routes differently, so I think that's the coolest part for me is just getting a bunch of different reps with all the guys. So for me, I definitely know when he's in, I gotta make sure I'm ready to get out in front of him, make sure his my cleats are in the ground. But I think that's the best part is Olave and the way he run routes and Brandon Cooks and how I'm throwing to him and Sed and Tip and Bub and all the guys that we're getting reps with. So we're still clicking every single day. And then you got Jawan and then our other tight ends. But to your question with Sheed, there is a little bit different gear that you got to be able to be ready for.
Tyler, whenever you're going today with the one, how does that change maybe your approach compared to when you're putting the two previous day?
For me, the approach is the same. I'm going to go in and command the huddle, to the best of my ability. But I think today I was really intentional, about my first time getting in with them, that coming in and having a presence, being loud and being, we're having that dialogue with all those guys. And I wanted them to know that I'm coming in, ready to do the job. And I think it was a really good day operationally wise. And then it was a lot of fun being out there, even though it was a shorter red zone day. But to kind of keep rolling, it felt really good.
Where do you feel like you're at, just as far as your comfort level, just feeling like, Tyler Shough every time you roll out there?
Yeah, I think for me, every day I feel like I get better. I think the biggest thing, like yesterday, we're going, every play is not going to be perfect, but I think how we kind of responded and how I kind of come back each day, that's the biggest thing I'm looking for, because we're all in the same new offense. We're not going to be operating like it's, week 17 and for everybody, we're having, we got to be sharp mistakes-wise. I got to have better ball placement. Almost every time I'm trying to get better. So to your point, no, I'm not exactly where I want to be at all, but I think that's a good thing. I think we have a lot more, ways to grow, and that's the part I think Kellen and all the staff do a really good job with, putting a lot of stuff on our plate, but at the same time, understanding, how we can be successful.
How do you feel like your path, to get here with the injuries and the setbacks?
Yeah.
How do you feel like that's maybe calloused you for a situation like this to handle it in the best way possible?
It's helped me out so much, because I think just even your day-to-day interactions with guys, having fun, joking around with Cam Jordan, joking around with guys that are vets, and maybe when you're a 20, 21-year-old rookie, you're kind of coming in just whatever. But I think, we're all trying to get to the bowl. We're all trying to do everything that we can do to get better. So having played in 5 different systems, having been a backup, been hurt, all those things, and been a starter, and it's really helped me just day-to-day wise, and also learning the new system and commanding the huddle and those things. But I'm just trying to find little ways to keep sharpening it.
When you're in a competition, do you have to try to caution against sticking mentally on a negative play or even a positive one, and just really moving on to the next play and just kind of having that kind of mental?
Yeah, I think in general, we're in practice, they're scripted scenarios. We're scripted, it's not the flow of a game. We're trying to operate within the best. So a lot of times a throwaway or not taking a sack here or putting on this are sometimes good plays, and they may not look good in comparison to, if I have a good throw or Spencer has a good throw or Jake has a good throw. I try and go at it and just win that rep, and I think that's the whole goal. So for me, I've been in a bunch of different competitions. Human nature is like, oh, this guy threw it deep, I want to throw it deep. But the biggest thing that coach is looking for and I want to do is just execute it to the best of my ability, and then the good things will happen.
Along those lines, is it hard to work on something you would consider a weakness or something you need to develop when you want the results of who's having a better day?
No. I mean, for me, it's just, everybody's gonna have good days and bad days. Like, that's part of it, and especially with you're running a new system. But I think for me, it's just how do I operate within the huddle? How does the rep look? How did I execute? What could I have done better? But I feel like every physically wise, all that stuff, it's just marrying up continually every single day. So for me, I'm not worried about all the other stuff, and I try and do the best I can so we all can kind of get better.
Tyler, get back to the adversity that you faced in college. Now that you're in camp, do you feel that you stayed in school has helped you out tremendously?
Yeah, no, I think it has, just because, one, like I said earlier, just from operating within the building standpoint, comfortability there, and then also just kind of coming out to practice, you say, and having that sharpness. And I also understand how Foster and Taysom are feeling right now, and you're on the sideline and you're itching to get back, and I can see it in their eyes because I've been there and I would do anything to get back on the field, and that's kind of how I'm treating every single day, competing and trying to be the starter and trying to do everything I can to help the team, because I think we got all the talent in the world for this team-wise, and I think that me, Spencer, Jake, our job is just kind of facilitate it and do the best we can.
What do you make of the
quarterback room?
Say again?
How would you describe this quarterback room, the way you guys are getting along?
Oh, it's
just
awesome.
Everything about it.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think the best thing is that we're all kind of around the same age. I feel like we all kind of have a really unique experience. Yeah, I'm a rookie, but I've also seen some stuff in college. Jake's seen a lot of stuff in the NFL and had to battle through some stuff. So has Spencer. And I think we kind of have that great mindset of we're competing, but we're having fun, and we're trying to get better. So it's been really fun so far, and I'm excited to kind of keep battling.
What do you make of the most about Tolzien and Nussmeier and Kellen in the QB room when you all prepare? Has there been anything specifically behind the scenes that stood out to you when it comes to how impressive those guys are?
Yeah, I think multiple things from all those guys that you said. I think Scott does a really good job of making it understandable in the language that we're speaking in the offense, because he's been in it before. Kellen's really impressive as far as he's not really worried about certain game plan specific plays that maybe may not come up or he may not call, but we're trying to just get everything installed, communicated, and now we're kind of hitting the ground training camp. We're getting everything rolling. So, and then Coach Nussmeier, he's seen it all as well, just being a quarterback coach for so long, being at all different levels. So I really enjoy just being in the room with them and continuing to learn.
Tyler, how'd you go about managing sort of the non-stop off-season, going from college to the draft, prep, now here?
Yeah. For me, I wanted to be intentional about getting to know everybody, being around the guys, and that's obviously the one thing that they tell you, you don't really have an off-season as a rookie, but I wanted to try and take advantage of it and just get around the guys and being around everybody, because we got to be there longer as a rookie and go do the camp and go meet coaches and try and do as much as I can to throw with the guys in the off-season and hold those stuff, just because you're hitting the ground running. You can have some vacay time whenever you're done playing. Kind of how I see it, but I think the opportunity is there, and I wanted to try and set myself up in the best position.
What is your approach to, or how would you describe your approach to getting to know the place where you've been drafted to play?
Yeah.
Why is it that way? Is it something from within? Is it a combination of advice you receive from anyone in particular, or what is that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think part of it is just getting to know everybody, and I think when I've had success is, the more chemistry you have with everybody, and that's within your teammates, then also within the city, and just being around people and just being who I am, really, because I think, we talked about earlier, I'm going to have good days and bad days, same with the city, same with everybody, so just being vulnerable, getting around everybody, going at places to eat, that's been the funnest part, because football only really lasts so long, and I think that's been the cool part, getting to talk with Archie a bunch, and he's not from here, but the impact that he's made and how long he stayed, obviously same with Drew and a lot of these guys who kind of came back and worked here. That's my goal. I want to work in the NFL as long as I can, playing, coaching, whatever it is, and obviously being in New Orleans, such a great place to be as well.
How have the people in the city kind of responded to you, like just when you're out and about?
Yeah, there's been a lot of people recognize me, but a lot of the first questions about my dog or about something else, but or where are you going to eat next? But it's been really good so far, and I really enjoy getting to know everybody. They've been just down to earth, really cool, like just talking about football, talking about how you're feeling, and I've really enjoyed it.
That do it quick or like extended mentality that you mentioned Scott has, like it's like what's the trigger in your mind when you go, okay, like I'm going to bail on the pocket, maybe get out, extend it, like what do you kind of need to see to get to that?
It's play specific, you know. It's going to depend on the drop and what we're trying to get the look, and but for me it's 2 seconds, you know, couple seconds, especially down there, and even quicker. So it's all a feel thing, and I think that comes with the reps as far as, you know, how we're running the routes, what we're trying to get done. But for me, I feel like I'm getting really a lot better every single day, and I got to keep doing that and focus on my job and focus on getting everybody the ball and learning and being the best guy I can for them.
People often look at like time to throw and they think like faster is better. Is that kind of maybe like outdated thinking with the way people play now, like so much stuff happening outside of the pocket?
Yeah, I think I mean, that's why we rep it so much every single day. It's those second action plays. I think those are honestly where the biggest plays that get made, and you want to play on time and do everything you can, but sometimes a guy's going to slip, or maybe run the wrong route, or maybe late, or we may have a block, and that's just part of it. You know, the defense, they're out here working their butts off. They're going to win some reps too, so we got to try and make a play. And then sometimes the best play is a throwaway, or the best play is running it. And that really stuck with me, just kind of working with a lot of these coaches, and they understand that that's what they're looking for. They don't really care about, you know, the perfect throw stat-wise or whatever it is going to be, because in the game, the bullets are flying. You know, you got to go make a play and operate.
So maybe a dumb question, but what have you made of like this schedule that Kellen Moore's got you on, and maybe like recovery time management, that sort of stuff?
I think it's proven to be successful. I think for him, just doing research-wise, all the different teams he's been on, different staffs, different kind of philosophies. I think this is what they did with the Eagles as far as recovery-wise, how much work, how intentional you're being about a lot of those days lifting. I think a lot of the guys are responding really well. I know coming out to practice, I feel like we get really good work in. And I think that's just, and then continuing after and walk through. So I'm just excited to keep going. I mean, if it's only day 2, but we got so much more to go, you know.
He has a why for everything, huh?
Yeah, I think that's been the cool thing, is he's had success with, you know, that's the hard part when you're in that, like, different personalities, different coaches, you know, different players. You know, you don't have the same guy for, you know, 10, 15 years. He's had different quarterbacks, and that's really cool because he puts a lot on us. He's like, hey, what do you feel about, you know, this? Or I'm thinking, you know, that. And then Ted Rath, he does a phenomenal job, our strength coach. So I'm just really excited to be here and then just do my part and continue to grow, because I think we're set up for, you know, really good success.
What was the summer break like for you? And, you know, how did those throwing sessions specifically away from the facility help you kind of like bond with your teammates and things like that?
I mean, it was awesome. I think being in Oregon, you know, having Brandon Cook set that up, that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever been on, and just being able to kind of pour into each other and have fellowship that way off the field. Like, that's what it's about. You're trying to make it like college as much as you can. Obviously, people have their own, you know, families, and we have our off the field lives, but being around each other, that's why we do it, you know. And, you know, throwing in Dallas and getting as much guys as you can out there and going out to eat, and that's what we're trying to create is that chemistry, and then just throwing a bunch. So for me, that was just learning from them and hearing what, you know, a lot of quarterbacks have done in the past, and talking to Cooks about that, about, you know, what has worked for him.
So you started in the good weather and then just gradually came down in the hotter and hotter weather.
Yeah, went to Oregon and then went to Dallas, was pretty hot there, and then got acclimated, and now we're down here. But no, it's actually been not too bad the past couple of days, a little overcast, but sure it'll get hotter. Yeah.
Too much.
I'm sure it'll get hotter.
What do you make of the variety that Kellen Moore uses with tempo? Like, you're not going fast all the time. There's kind of a rhythm to it.
Yeah, I think we're trying to be as fast as we can. I think that's my job and the quarterback's job, and the O-line, everybody, just getting up and getting down as fast as we can. And I think we can do a better job of that. Just creating that sense of urgency, because I think that's how he's had success in the past, and then being able to slow it down.
Do you feel like the lack of veteran presence in the quarterback room is you to approach things looser than maybe?
I think there is a veteran presence in the quarterback room. I think you got Scott Linehan and Doug Nussmeier and Kellen and Scott, as far as just like, and Taysom. He's a veteran. I think he's been such a great resource for me, and learning from all those guys. And obviously you want to keep it loose and have fun, but understand that there's a standard, and we're trying to increase it and live up to it every day.
Tyler, is there anything that's emerged as an area that you found you need to shore up or work on or hone in on in the first?
Yeah, I mean, every day. I think there's little things every single day. I'm trying to time up this footwork with a brand new route we're putting in, and working with these guys. So every single day I'm trying to find one thing that I can be of service to those guys. But I know I'm fully confident in my abilities to get it out, throw it, to operate. I feel really comfortable just mindset-wise operating within it. So for me, just making sure that my timing is right with everything, and I think it's continuing to get better.
As having gone through like competitions before, is there a part of the competition that you can like feel shift, whether you're in the lead or in the back, and then like how do you kind of handle that wave if there is one?
For me, I think we don't really tend to think of it as like that, where you're in the lead or not, because every single day we're just trying to make the team better. We're trying to get better. We have to. We're trying to learn, as much as we can. And I think the fun part is that we've all been in competitions before. We understand that only one guy can play, but any way we can just continue to make each other better, then that at the end of the day, we're all going to be better. And but yeah, it's been really fun.
Last question.
None of the injuries have been soft tissue, ligament, or anything. Do you feel like when the back injuries are just overblown and all, or
I don't know if overblown is the right word. I think it's just, I understand at the time the timing sucked of it. I wasn't playing, but for me it hasn't affected me. I think that's why, kind of towards the draft, and why there wasn't as much buzz around my name in the beginning, and understanding that it was just the bone breaks and kind of what was on film was who I am. And I think I just conveying that in interviews and here, and how I operate, and then also continuing to run the ball. Continuing to run the ball and continuing to utilize that part of the game is what I want to do.